Thank you, Mr. Chairman, Mr. Baker, Ms. Gaddy, Mr. Roth, and Ms. Navaroli. You can consider your speech canceled during my time because you canceled mine. You see, you permanently banned my personal Twitter account, and it was my campaign account also. So let's talk about election interference, shall we? January 2nd, 2002, you permanently banned my Twitter account. This was the account that I would put my campaign ads on, raise money on, fight back when attacked with lies, and be able to talk to my voters in my district. But you banned it. And then let me explain. My account was not reinstated until November 21st, 2022. That was after my election on November 8th. You know, at your company, or your former company where you worked, Twitter employees, over 98% of them donate to Democrats. So while you coordinated with DHS, the FBI, the CIA, our government, and outside groups to permanently ban, shadow ban conservative Americans and candidates like me and the former president of the United States, President Donald J. Trump, you were censoring and wrongfully violating our First Amendment free speech rights. Guess what? None of you hold security clearances. None of you are elected, and none of you represent 750,000 people like I do. Let's explain. 52 United States Law 10101. No person shall intimidate, threaten, coerce, or attempt to stop any other person for the purpose of interfering with their rights to vote, or to vote as he may choose. You didn't shadow ban or permanently ban my Democrat opponent. No, you did that to me. And that was wrong, and it was against the law. You see, not only that, was it me that you violated my First Amendment rights? You violated countless conservative Americans. These were doctors that were trying to tell the truth about COVID, doctors that were having success treating people with ivermectin that you all would not allow to be talked about on your platform. These were parents complaining about their school boards, teaching gender lies in their schools, biological males entering their daughters' bathrooms and sports. These were also people questioning the 2020 election, and guess what? That's Americans' First Amendment right. These were people talking about voting machines. You know what? Democrats did that in 2019, before the 2020 election. On Twitter, people could question elections such as 2016, saying Hillary won, but in 2020, no one could question elections saying Trump won. You abused the power of a large corporation, big tech, to censor Americans. And you want to know something? Guess what? I'm so glad that you're censored down. I'm so glad you've lost your jobs. Thank God Elon Musk bought Twitter. And you know what? Let's talk about something a little bit further. It's amazing to me, Mr. Roth, as the head and trust of safety at Twitter, your ability, or should I say inability, to remove child porn. Now, here's something that disgusts me about you. In your doctoral dissertation entitled Gay Data, you argued that minors should have access to Grindr, an adult male gay hookup app. Minors? Really? You know, Elon Musk took over Twitter and he banned 44,000 accounts that were promoting child porn. You permanently banned my Twitter account, but you allowed child porn all over Twitter. Twitter had become a platform, you said, connecting queer young adults. You also wrote on Twitter in 2010, can high school students ever meaningfully consent to sex with their teachers? In 2021, while you were the director of trust and safety on Twitter, an underage boy and his mother announced a lawsuit against Twitter because Twitter was benefiting from and refused to remove a lewd video featuring this boy and another minor. That is repulsive. But you violated me. What were my tweets? Okay, let's talk about them. I was talking about the deaths being reported on VAERS. By the way, that's on the CDC website. I was also saying that I didn't think any entity should enforce a non-FDA approved vaccine or mask. Guess what? A lot of people agreed with me, but you called that COVID misinformation. By the way, I'm a member of Congress and you're not. I also said the controversial COVID-19 vaccines should not be forced on our military. You want to know something? Republicans stopped that in the NDAA.
Ladies, time has expired.
And your time has expired. I yield back. Thank you, Mr. Chairman. I believe the Second Amendment gives the states the right to have a militia, and it did not expand which way that went, but it gives the state that right. And I think it's extremely important. And I just want to clarify, Mr. Raskins, I never said arm every single person. People have the right to keep and bear arms if they choose. And I also feel that, if my children are in school and a madman with a gun comes to a school to kill people, unfortunately, a psychologist is not going to be able to just talk him out of it. That is not a good way to protect kids. But again, we enjoy...
Do you think the students should be armed?
I think children should be trained with firearms. I definitely do. I think that's very important so that they understand the
So they could repel someone who comes in.
That's not what I said. I said I believe children should be trained with firearms so they understand how to use them and understand the safety. But I think that we should allow states to choose how they protect schools. I believe more in state rights and a lot less than federal intervention.
I want to be clear about your position. There are 50 states that now ban private militias on the theory that people don't have a right to take up arms against the government. You agree with that?
Mr. Raskins, I believe we're talking about due process rights. I'm not sure how we're onto this about private...
We're talking about the Second Amendment.
Yes, we're talking about the Second Amendment. That's right. I think
you mentioned abortion a moment ago, but if we could stick to guns for a second.
Well, abortion kills babies, innocent. We're talking about kids being killed.
Okay, good.
Abortion kills innocent children.
All right, I got your...
They can't protect themselves at all from this horrific procedure.
Sounds like you want to arm them. But in any event, my question is about militias.
That's impossible, Mr. Raskins.
But I wanted to talk about militias. Do you agree that it's constitutional for the 50 states to ban private militias?
I don't think they should be banned. The federal government isn't protecting our border. We're being invaded every single day by an unknown amount of people coming illegally across our border. I think we're in a time where states have the rights to be able to figure out how to protect their citizens.
Right. So here's what the states have figured out, Ms. Greene. They've figured out that private groups who are armed should not be taking up arms against the government and have no Second Amendment right against the state. So you agree with that?
I think the Second Amendment is clear. It means that we need well-armed citizens. And I believe that's extremely important, Mr. Raskins. And as weird as this body, or the Senate perhaps, is trying to violate the Second Amendment, but yet the Supreme Court just ruled yesterday that Americans need to be able to keep and bear arms, carry them.
Handguns.
Bear them means carry them.
Okay.
Carry them in order to protect themselves.
But I just found something that said, you're quoted as saying in talking to Real America's Voice that whereas January 6th was just a riot at the Capitol, and if you think what our Declaration of Independence says, it says to overthrow tyrants. So do you think that the assault on the Capitol was a legitimate exercise of popular insurrection?
Oh, Mr. Raskins, I know it's early in the morning, but this is the Rules Committee. This isn't your Trump derangement committee that you call the January 6th committee.
My last name doesn't have an S on it, Ms. Greene.
Oh, I apologize.
Okay.
Mr. Raskin.
Okay, you've been talking about the Second Amendment. You came here to talk to us about the Second Amendment, right?
I'm here to talk about due process rights and protecting Americans' due process rights.
All
yes.
right, so I just want to be clear. You've been quoted at least as saying that the January 6th riot at the Capitol was in the spirit of the Declaration of Independence, which says you can overthrow tyrants. You've also testified that people have a right to carry guns, presumably wherever they want to go. So it seems to me that lots of people were armed on that day, but the logic of your argument is that everybody could have been armed and brought their weapons with them. And I'll take that as a conclusion.
What evidence do you have that a lot of people were armed that day? Mr. Raskin, do you have that to introduce into the record?
Just wait for it. But when it comes out, presumably you'll be supporting it, right? That they would have a right to have guns and knives with them. Is that right?
Mr. Raskin.
Is that your position?
No, Mr. Raskin.
No, I'm
again,
going to ask
I
the
think-
questions here because this
I
is
think-
the
I
Rules
think
Committee.
you've-
You're not a member of the Rules Committee, Ms. Green. Are you?
I'm a
Are you a
witness.
member of the Rules Committee?
I'm a witness here at the Rules
Okay, so I'm
Committee
asking, let me just ask you a
that
question.
is talking about due process rights, not your lies about January 6th, about President Trump and others.
Okay, I didn't mean, I never mentioned him, you've brought him up. All right, I think your position has become clear. You think the Declaration of Independence says overthrow tyrants, that endows the people.
That's
Well, that's a
not.
quote from you.
No, you're twisting words in an article.
Well, tell us what is your position
I'm
on it.
used to that.
I just ask that we not talk over each other because our court reporter